This is anti-imperialist Front TV news for the week ending March 23rd, 2025. Despite fascism, the people of Turkey are rebelling. A spark may be enough for a second June Gezi Park uprising. Turkey, a neo-colony of imperialism, once again demonstrates its revolutionary potential. The main opposition party, CHP, Republican People's Party's presidential candidate and the mayor of Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, Ekrem İmamoğlu, was detained in an operation involving hundreds of police officers. This operation, aimed at intimidating the public by intimidating the opposition, also reveals the depth of the contradictions within the oligarchy. The people who have suffered under ruling AKP, Justice and Development Party fascism, for over 20 years, took to the streets in anger demanding justice. Youth mobilized from the universities and in dozens of cities across Anatolia. People gathered in the squares. However, besides the police repression, the leadership of the CHP itself opposed the people's uprising. In Istanbul, they blocked the people's demand to march towards Taksim Square, which played a central role in the June Gezi uprising. In Ankara, when the CHP provincial administration announced dispersal in the evening, the gathered thousands responded with boos. The people now recognize that elections are not the solution. When Özgür Özel tried to redirect public outrage towards the ballot box by saying, "We will show our reaction at the polls," he faced a backlash. In many squares, the crowd chanted, "The solution is not in the ballot box, but in the streets and squares." The slogans echoing in the streets, "Rights, law, justice," and "Police get out, these squares belong to us," reflect the people's anger and determination. The solution lies not in compromise, but in struggle, not in peace, but in resistance to imperialism and its collaborators. Our day will come and revolution will cleanse away the filth. In Syria, the HTS murderers are carrying on massacring hundreds of alawites. The people in Turkey and Europe gathered in thousands to protest the ongoing slaughter and condemn those who support it, namely the US, the EU, and Turkey. On Saturday, March 15th, 2 marches took place in London and Cologne. Banners in Turkish, English, German, and Arabic denounced the massacres of alawites and the complicity of the AKP government in Turkey, Britain, and the European Union in the events in Syria. One slogan was "Killer HTS, Collaborator AKP." Speeches were made, including by Syrian alawites, describing the appalling conditions in Syria. A speaker from the People's Front noted the complicity of Turkey, Europe, US imperialism, and Zionism in what was happening in Syria. Israel unilaterally broke the ceasefire and started massacring Palestinians in Gaza, while resistance is targeting Tel Aviv with rockets. Israel's renewed bombardment of Gaza has killed more than 400 people, including at least 180 children, during the night of March 19th. The armed wing of Hamas, the Qassam brigades, says it has fired a barrage of rockets against the southern Israeli city of Ashkelon. The attack was in response to Israel's massacres of civilians in Gaza, Hamas said. "The thing is, we have already been through hell. I, like 2 million other Palestinians in Gaza, survived the genocidal inferno from October 7th, 2023 to January 19th, 2025, and we will carry on resisting to the Zionist genocide with whatever we have," a Palestinian said. Meanwhile, Israeli troops carried out raids using live ammunition in occupied West Bank, targeting civilians. A missile launched from Yemen has been intercepted before crossing into Israeli territory, the Israeli military said. Sirens sounded across Israel in response to the launch, showing that no place is safe in Israel. Resistance to Turkey's S, R, and Y-type prisons continues. These prisons aim to isolate the political prisoners and kill them silently. So far, 10 revolutionary prisoners, after a lengthy hunger strike resistance, were sent back to F-type prisons where they can be in contact with their comrades. Serjan Ahmet Arslan, 154 days. Mullah Zincir, 130 days. Serkan Onur Yilmaz, 132 days. Bakican Işık, 93 days. Yurdagul Gumush, 81 days. Mithat Öztürk, 38 days. Hasan Ali Akgul, 33 days. Ali Araja, 33 days. Ayberk Demirdiren, 12 days. New prisoners who are forcibly transferred to the solitary confinement prisons are now volunteering to join the struggle. Fikret Akar is one of them. When the prison administration informed him that they would deny him sugar and B1 vitamin, he responded by declaring he would refuse water during his hunger strike. Fikret Akar is set to begin his hunger strike on March 30th. Given these conditions, he is likely to face severe health complications in the early days. Therefore, it is urgent to stand in solidarity with him and with all resisting prisoners. Isolation is torture, and torture is a crime against humanity. 18th March is the Day of Freedom for political prisoners, and to honour this significant day, around 50 people held a day-long hunger strike throughout Europe. People's Front in Greece, Hasan Ferit Gedik International Association for the Struggle Against Addiction, People's Cinema, Association for Solidarity with the Families of Prisoners and Convicts were among the organizations taking part. They dedicated their action to those resisting in Turkey's SR and Y-type prisons. Additionally, the German left organized an action in front of Cologne prison to show their solidarity with Özgül and İhsan. The demands of the action were to close down solitary confinement-type prisons, to accept the demands of the 9 free captives on indefinite hunger strike, and to demand freedom for all political prisoners worldwide. 2 days after the Day of Freedom for political prisoners on 20th March, Ayten Öztürk's trial was held. Ayten Öztürk was under house arrest when she was detained on February 6, 2024. During this trial, she was acquitted of the alleged spreading propaganda of a prescribed organization. She has already received 2 life imprisonment sentences for allegedly watching the lynching of a rapist from the other side of the street. Her next trial is on April 16, 2025. Hundreds of thousands of people descended on Serbia's capital on Saturday, March 15th, to protest the deaths of 15 people in a railway station collapse. The Novi Sad collapse last November has galvanized anger against the government and President Aleksandar Vučić. Demonstrators blame corruption and corner-cutting for the loss of life. They believe the disaster reflects more than a decade of government by the Progressive Party of Vučić, who closely associated himself with the station's recent renovation. We, the Anti-Imperialist Front, call all anti-imperialist, anti-fascist organizations and all oppressed people of the world to join the campaign against NATO, to take action on April 4th, to unite all our forces against the common enemy of the people of the world. NATO was founded on April 4th, 1949 by the USA, Canada, and 10 Western European countries. The history of NATO is a history of aggression and lies. NATO means occupation, oppression, war crimes, torture, murder, poverty, exploitation, injustice, contra-guerrillas, enemies of the peoples of the world. It means solitary confinement, anti-terror laws, and disinformation. An organization for the expansion of US hegemony over the whole world. This year we witnessed once again that the aggressiveness of NATO has continued all over the world. Trump's plan to continue to attack Gaza to make it a Riviera for US and Zionist monopolies and profits was announced. The puppet regime of HTS in Syria which was established by US, EU, NATO countries after 13 years of imperialist invasion and intervention in the country, is now massacring alawites. The bombing of Yemen by the US and British imperialism, and the attacks against Lebanese and Palestinian resistance. Attempts to expand NATO in Eastern European countries, threats in NATO summits against China and Iran. The massacre of thousands of people in Palestine, Lebanon, and Syria, orchestrated by imperialism and Zionism. They have targeted resistance forces and civilians. For all these reasons, we have a duty to take action against NATO and its collaborators. Let's unite, fight, and win against imperialism. Smash NATO, close all US NATO bases. And that is Anti-Imperialist Front TV news for this week. For news outside the mainstream, follow us on social media. See you next week.